is coming from Niranjana. Is holding Apollo Hospital shares, above 15 shares, which you purchased at 4,600 rupees per share, saying that the stock is going down day by day. Should I hold or sell? Please suggest. What's your take, Kunal? Apollo Hospital, does it make sense for Niranjana to stay put with this holding?
The selling which the stock had seen in end of September, in a matter of 3 days, the stock fell more than 10 to 15% from 5,000 levels to 4,400, 4,500 is where the stock had corrected in those 3 days of time span. That has had a very negative effect into the stock price, and it's dented the trend as well for Apollo Hospital. Prior to that, of course, it had done exceptionally well. So, which means that some sort of an aberration towards the trend has happened, or some sort of a correction wave has started for Apollo Hospital. I believe that the stock could probably and possibly come back towards maybe a 4,000 levels or below that as well over the near term. So I would suggest an exit on Apollo Hospital if the stock is already not performing, and since the views bought just about very recently.
Okay. Mr. Prabhakar, do you have coverage on this counter called Sona BLW Precision Forgings? We've got a question coming in from Thomas V. George. He's asking whether it can be bought at the current market price for the long term.
Yeah, we have a coverage. We were the first to cover once the stock got listed. Now, this company uniqueness is they cater to EV, electric vehicle. So they make differential keys and other components for the EV vehicle, and even in two-wheeler space, we expect most of the manufacturer will use Sona BLW components. So I think maybe this transition will take time. Now, whenever there is a new technology which has come, it has taken some time. So I think if electric vehicle is going to be the order of the day, a long-term growth story is playing out in Sona BLW. I think for a long-term investor, if you have 3 to 5 years time horizon, this is a good price to buy. But if you are a short-term trader or somebody who is less than 3 years, then you have to time your buy. Maybe we can listen to the commentary and then buy.
All right, this query is coming from Kaustubh. He wants a view on ICICI Prudential. It is in a consolidating phase, so is it a good entry point? He's asking, is it good time to enter ICICI Prudential with a target of around 680 to 700 rupees in sight? What's your take on this one, Kunal? ICICI Pru, do you see that counter actually approaching that target of 680 to 700? Makes sense for Kaustubh to look to enter?
Well, I'm sensing it's a very short-term oriented query. The stock is at 650, 655 at current levels. The indicators are a bit sluggish. The stock patterns are a bit, I would say, sideways for ICICI Pru. And at a time when the markets are getting into a very strong momentum phase, breaking past about the landmarks and the psychological marks on a consistent basis, it's probably prudent enough to try and buy stocks which are already on high momentum rather than the ones which are sluggish, because these stocks, they can remain into a sideways range. And when you look at the index on one hand, when you look at the list of stocks and portfolios on your aspect, then your portfolio may not match the kind of market performance. So purely on that aspect, and assuming it's a very short-term limited query, I would suggest an avoid on ICICI Pru at this point of time.
Okay. HUL currently trading at 2,651 or thereabouts, Mr. Prabhakar. We've got Krishnan from Trivandrum, who is bought at levels of 1,700. He's holding 220 shares, which I think he's holding at an average price of 1,700. He's wondering whether to add more. And I think a lot of people have talked about this as a prospect for an SIP mode acquisition. He says that he's a senior citizen though. So should he acquire more at this point?
With a bank interest at 5.5% or lower, I think for him, Hindustan Lever over a period of time will give you better returns. So I think whenever there is a correction in the Hindustan Lever, Kolpal or any FMCG company like Nestle, if there is a 8 to 10% correction, that will be the best entry point. And yes, as you said, SIP is the best mode to get the entry here.
Right. This next query that we have gotten is coming in from Shruti. HPCL, ONGC, Oil India, which of these are the best ones to buy right now? What's your take, Mr. Prabhakar? I'll take this one to you. HPCL, ONGC, Oil India. If someone were to go ahead and buy these counters, which one would you think that they should look at?
HPCL will be my bet. Now, I think with Air India's sale, the next in target or line will be BPCL and few other PSU companies. And if BPCL is sold, then the re-rating will happen in oil marketing companies. So IOC and HPCL. HPCL is very attractive at current level. ONGC and Oil India, they are perfectly priced. And it is the crude which is now boiling due to multiple reasons. But I think in the long-term prospects, crude might come below $65-60. So short-term, yes, it can anything can happen in short-term. But I think crude the demand in the long-term might not be there. So I feel it is better to be with HPCL.
Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting, Kunal. There's one more question I want to take to Mr. Prabhakar. We've got Mr. KP Rao, who's writing in from Kenya. And it's interesting that we're going across the globe with this program. Mr. Prabhakar, the question is on Andhra Sugar. Would you suggest that someone can consider holding on to this counter? A couple of corporate actions perhaps to also consider. If you have coverage, would you suggest that Andhra Sugar is something to consider, or would you suggest another name in the space?
We don't cover Andhra Sugar, but I have been tracking the company personally. Now, Andhra Sugar is more of a chemical company. In sugar space, they don't make profit, but they are doing very good in their chemical space. I think you can hold on to the company, and the stock is almost at an all-time high. And I think it will continue to move higher. Chemical space is something where we are benefiting from China Plus One policy, and the freight rate also going up. So I think all chemical companies, Andhra Sugar I would consider as a chemical company because their revenue is more from chemicals.
Okay, understood. Fair enough. We've got Rajendra Gandhi who's asking about graphite, which has been bought at levels of 700 and please, if you can do give us your buy price after you tell us the number of shares that you acquired. So I'm not too sure, Kunal, at what price that he's bought, but what would you suggest are the near-term trends that you can see on the charts?
See, near-term trends are a bit sluggish. Graphite is going through a correction. Last 4 months, graphite has corrected from 800 levels to 600. But purely in terms of the entry levels, the risk reward, the longer term patterns, the shape up of the charts over the long term, I believe that it could be an attractive level to enter the stock at current levels. So, provided if you have a time frame of at least 6 months, if not more, for such kind of stocks as well, you have a risk appetite that the stocks can swing very wildly and in a very volatile kind of a fashion. 20% is the kind of moves which you typically see into these kind of names in a very short span of time. So if you can absorb both of these factors, time as well as the price volatility, then I believe buying graphite at current levels could probably turn out to be a good trade over the next 6 months plus.
Companies as well. Mangesh Kadam is asking about HDFC Bank. Mr. Prabhakar, this is a counter that clearly has been in focus in the recent past. He's asking for the next 3 years. Now, this is a bank that has gotten back into the credit card business with a bang, I think. But overall, how do you think the prospects are? Would you suggest that you can enter at this level for the next 3 years?
I feel so. This bank has been very consistent at 15% CAGR growth. And if you are looking at 3 years and if you are happy with 15% growth, I think HDFC Bank is the best and it is the safest bet also.
Next query that we've got is coming in from Mangesh Kadam, and he's saying he's accumulated around 10,000 shares of HDFC Bank, but not sure what exactly he wants to know. about HDFC Bank, but I'm believing that he wants to know whether he should continue with the holding of these shares for the longer term. Mr. Prabhakar, what's your take coming in on HDFC Bank? He's already holding quite a number of shares. So, okay, I've been told that this particular query is done. I'm very sorry for that. Apologies. Let me talk about Graphite India. Ved Gaukar is asking about Graphite India, which he's purchased at least 60 shares of Graphite India at 683 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should average it out or sell. He's a long-term investor. What's your take on this one, Kunal? Graphite India, what should Ved do with this particular counter? Continue to hold on to it or sell?
See, Cheryl, I just mentioned about Graphite that the stock has corrected almost 200 rupees from its 5-month highs. 800 was the previous high for Graphite, and from there it's corrected back towards 600 levels. It's retraced exactly at its 200 moving average, or just about that region. So I believe purely in that sense, it could be a good level where you can look to average, provided you have an appetite to absorb a lot of price volatility as well as a time frame which is more than 6 months plus. If that's the case, then I believe averaging at current levels of your existing holding on Graphite could turn out to be a good trade.
Alright, so we were having a little bit of a technical difficulty in case our viewers are wondering what happened with Cheryl's feed and what are the chances that the two questions that I asked were the ones that she took up. Okay, that happens sometimes. Startup Power is the next counter that we're looking at. Naveed is asking this question. He's asking whether to sell or to hold on. He's bought at levels of 96, Kunal. Should he hold on to this?
I think it's going through a fantastic uptrend for itself over the near term. If you've bought at purchase price of 95, 96 odd, then you're already making 100% of your profits at current levels. So looks attractive. Short-term charts are also very good. The lineup in terms of volumes, breakout, etc. on the long-term prospect as well have been very, very attractive. So I would suggest a hold on Tata Power at current levels.
All right, yeah, what are the chances, Alex, actually, if you look at it? Let's move on and let's talk about, rather let's get on board our experts' view in the rapid fire segment, and let's get on board our first query that we've got for the rapid fire, and this one is on Neogen Chemical, holding from 1,270 rupees per share. This is Sandeep's query. What should he do with this one? Mr. Prabhakar, do you track Neogen Chemical?
We don't track, but I think Neogen is a very good company. Hold on.
Okay, Mr. Prabhakar, significant quantity, 11,000 shares of SAIL being held by Ruben. His average price is 118. He's wondering whether he should hold on. He's wondering whether it can hit 150 in the near to medium term.
Yeah, if he is looking at 2-3 years, then I think 150 is possible in sailing. Hold on.
Okay, this is from Purushottam. Can I enter Vinity Organics at current levels? What's your take, Kunal?
Organics is looking attractive because it's come back to a corrective phase. I think at current levels you can look to buy.
Kunal, Infosys is a stock that's under a tad bit of pressure today, but 1,000. So Sagar is asking whether it can be bought at the current level for the next 6 months. What would you say?
Well, it looks attractive to me on the charts. Infosys, or maybe I think a better bet in terms of momentum could be HCL Tech. So you can choose either of them.
This one is Dubs saying that bought 300 shares of Z at 354 rupees per share. Definitely much lower right now. The stock price. What should you do? Hold on to it or book loss? What's your take, Mr. Prabhakar?
Very difficult to answer. There is a corporate governance and there is a fight going on. I will avoid the question.
Mr. Prabhakar, this is not a stock related query, more a strategy related query. We've got a viewer, Ram, who's got gains of anywhere between 10 and 500% on the stocks that he holds. Obviously a difficult question, but he's asking whether to exit completely and sit on the sidelines. I would assume that answer is no, right?
Yeah. Sell.
All right, this one is from Lasya saying that need advice on Webber Global, should buy on at current levels. What's your take, Kunal?
Active long-term charts are very well. Last 14-15 months, the stock had done exceptionally well. So it seems to be a good level where you can look to enter again.
Okay, gentlemen, on that note, thank you so much for joining in, for taking the time, for answering all the questions that you did answer. From Shell and myself, thank you so much for joining in. On that note, we are taking a short break on this program, but we'll be back on the other side with a lot more, so do stay tuned.